Today, I'm going to start you off with a pop quiz. Pop quiz. So, imagine this. You're in the spiritual world, and you're walking along, and you see somebody who has the eyes of a leopard, the gait of a wolf, the face of a fox, the teeth of a crocodile. Ooh, if you're seeing someone who looks like that or something looks like that, what are you seeing, friends? What are you seeing? Well, if you know what today's topic is, you know that you are seeing a spiritual hypocrite. That is what they look like. If you want to end up looking like that, all you got to do is be a hypocrite, and bang, that is what you're going to look like. It's not a pretty picture, is it? But this is from True Christian Religion number 381. This is what say what spiritual hypocrites look like to the angels of heaven. The kind of spiritual hypocrites who walk around in sheep's clothing, but are inwardly as predatory as wolves. In prayer, they look like acrobats walking on their hands. Their mouths call out from their hearts to demons and kiss them. But the sound they send towards God in the air. When they stand on their feet, however, they have the eyes of a leopard, the gait of a wolf, the face of a fox, the teeth of a crocodile, and the faith of a vulture. Yeah, not a pretty picture, is it? Not a pretty picture. What is it about hypocrites we don't like? You know, we've all encountered a hypocrite before, right? They say one thing, they do another. I've encountered people at work, not at this work, who are hypocritical because they'll, I remember one observation. This fellow, he was promised a deadline. He's like, yep. My friend says, yep, I will meet this deadline. It's going to be due on Friday. I'll get it done. But when Friday rolled around, the job wasn't done. The job wasn't done. He went to the person he owed the deadline to, and he says, oh, gee, I'm really sorry. Things came up, it didn't happen, these troubles here, there, whatever, it took longer than I expected, and therefore I'm sorry I haven't met the Friday deadline. And this guy, turns to this guy, he is unhappy. He takes no ambiguity in expressing his displeasure. So my friend's feeling bad and down in the dumps, gee, I really messed up. That's terrible. And he's feeling bad because he's let the guy down. But as fate would have it, it was only a few weeks later that the roles were reversed. This fellow owed my friend something on a deadline, and when this guy missed the deadline, he was so much easier on himself than he was on my friend. He wouldn't hear he needed to be a team player, and he didn't want to hear that he had to, work extra hours if that's what it took to get it done. The roles were completely reversed, but this guy was clearly playing favorites. And who was the favorite? Himself. We've seen this before, I would imagine, in life, where we've encountered someone who's like that. They hold everybody else to a different standard than they hold themselves. And that's the real reason why we dislike hypocrites so much. They're frustrating. Because we know that, you can hold people to different standards at times, right? If I call home and tell my wife, hey, I need you to go out and adjust the carburetor on my go-kart, and she does a terrible job and messes the whole thing up, I don't need to be upset about that because she has no competence when it comes to doing those things. Versus if I take it to the mechanic and they mess it up, I'm annoyed because, hey, I'm paying you the money to do this. You guys are supposed to know what you're talking about. So it's not about having different standards for different people, right? That's a legitimate thing. Sometimes you have to make those distinctions. But what drives us nuts about the hypocrites is that in the same context, they still hold themselves to a different standard than they hold everybody else. And that's just not fair. Jesus tells us plenty of times throughout scriptures that we need to beware of hypocrites. In the Gospel of Luke, he says, and he spoke to a certain Pharisee, and as he spoke, a certain Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So he went and sat down to eat. When the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he had not first washed before dinner. And the Lord said to him, now you Pharisees make the outside of the cup and dish clean, but your inward part is full of greed and wickedness. Foolish ones, did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But rather give alms of such things as you have, then indeed all things are clean to you. But woe to you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue all manner of herbs, and pass by injustice and love of God. These you ought to have done, without leaving the others undone. Woe to you, Pharisees, for you love the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like graves which are not seen, and the men who walk over them are not aware of them. And as he said these things to him, the scribes and the Pharisees began to assail Jesus vehemently and to cross-examine him about many things, lying in wait for him and seeking to catch him in something he might say, that they might accuse him. In the meantime, when an innumerable multitude of people had gathered together, so they trampled one another, he began to say to his disciples, first of all, beware the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor nothing hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have spoken in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you have spoken in the inner rooms will be proclaimed on the housetops. Now, the thing is about this reading is it can be really confronting, right? People can take that and go, oh no, I'm one of these Pharisees. Oh no, I have done things and said things and thought things that I thought were whispered in the inner room, but are now going to be proclaimed on the rooftops. Oh no, I'm a hypocrite. And this is one of these things where people get pretty scared, and I think sometimes maybe I should do a series on, spiritual hypochondriacs. These are the things that when we hear them, we go, oh no, this is me. Is that really what's going on here? Is Jesus telling us to beware of everything? I think we need to take a very good look here as to why the Pharisees are hypocrites and that why maybe we're not. Because the Pharisees are holding a double standard here, aren't they? They're watching out for what Jesus says to try to catch him and try to accuse him of things that they can get rid of him. The Pharisees are telling the people, this is what you have to do, what is right, and they have their set laws, but the implication here is the Pharisees don't live up to them themselves. They do the outward things right, but inside, they're full of hatred, full of hatred. They're not doing the things that they do for the benefit of other people. And there have been plenty of times where I've encountered people who say, gee, I'm a hypocrite because I think these terrible thoughts, I think bad things about people, but I'm trying to be a good person and I don't like it. I don't like that I have these terrible thoughts that I want to harm this person, I wish ill on this person, and yet I'm saying I'm trying to be a good person. Am I a hypocrite? I think what you have to kind of keep in mind in these situations is, why are you doing the things that you're doing? All right? Hiding what we really think can be really evil. It can be. But there are also times where there's a reason for hiding what we think. If you think back, or roll your biblical history way back to the Noah's Ark story. Symbolically, this is a story about where the Lord kind of resets the human mind and creates it so that there's a will and an understanding, an intellectual side and a desire side, a volition side, as some people call it. So our minds are divided, and they are going to have their own opinions as to how things should be run. Part of our job in this world is to bring those two into one, to bring them into unity, to bring them into integrity with one another. So God does give us this ability to have a difference between what we think and what we do. What we have to be on the lookout for here is, why are our things disjointed? Am I thinking bad things, but I'm doing the right things because I'm trying to be nice? Am I thinking the wrong things, but doing the right things because I'm trying to look good in front of other people and trying to make myself look better? Those are two very different ways and reasons for being hypocritical or for being out of integrity with each other. The Lord really warns us that, getting out of sync is a real problem. So we need to keep an eye on this. If we look at Revelation chapter 2, a letter is written to the church of Pergamum, and it's about this idea of being hypocrites and a warning against it. It's written, "To the angel of the church in Pergamum, these are the words of him who has the sharp, double-edged sword. I know where you live, where Satan has his throne. Yet you remain true to my name. You did not renounce your faith in me, not even the days of Antipas, my faithful witness, who was put to death in your city, where Satan lives." So that's mostly good. But verse 14, "Nevertheless, I have a few things against you. There are some among you who hold to the teachings of Balaam, who taught Balak to entice the Israelites to sin, so they ate food and sacrificed idols and committed sexual immorality. Likewise, you have also those who hold to the teaching of the Nicolaitans. Repent, therefore, otherwise I will soon come to you and fight against them with the sword of my mouth. Whoever has ears, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the one who is victorious, I will give some of the hidden manna. I will also give that person a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it." So there's a couple things here that I want to bring to your attention. So in verse 14, it talks about, "There are some among you who hold to the teaching of Balaam, who taught Balak." Now, you might remember this story back in the book of Numbers, where Balak hired Balaam to curse the children of Israel. He gets up on the mountaintop and he's supposed to curse them, and he gets up there and he says, "I can only say what the Lord tells me." And instead of cursing them, he blesses them. And so then Balak says, "Oh, no, come over here and try to curse them from over here." And he tries to curse and it fails. And come over here, try to curse them from this place. And every time he's supposed to curse them, he blesses them. And what we get from this bit in Revelation is that, you know what? Balaam did hate the children of Israel. He wanted to curse them. He had a seething heart against them. But he had to speak what the Lord said. So he was a hypocrite in that he was blessing them even though he hated them. And kind of the postscript to that blessing and cursing blessing story is in chapter 31 of Numbers. It's said that it was Balaam who says, "Well, okay, even though we couldn't curse them, King Balak, if you do this, it'll be a trap for them." And it's this advice that King Balak took from Balaam, where he got the women of Moab to go over to the children of Israel and commit sexual immorality with them. So they enticed them with their women and got them cursed and in trouble through a different means because Balaam hated them even though he cursed them. So that's what this Revelation story is all about. This is why he holds against them, because they're somewhat like Balaam. The people of Pergamum are somewhat like that in that they say the right things, but kind of behind their back, they're doing the things to sabotage you. It's that person in your life who says, oh yeah, I want to see you succeed. I'll help you out on that project. Oh, but they don't want you to look good, so they do something behind the scenes to make it look like you've stuffed up the project. Or hopefully that's not you. That's the people of Pergamum, and hopefully you don't identify with that. The teachings of the Nicolaitans, that's also in this passage, is something similar. The Nicolaitans are people who do good things and therefore regard themselves as worthy and have earned heaven. They've placed merit in their works. Oh, look, Lord, I've helped 3 people across the street. I've given this money to charity. I've done all these good things. Surely I should be into heaven. Yes, I have hated every one of these people that I have helped. I've looked down on them, but look at all the stuff I've done. And the Lord says, oh, no, buddy. That's the work of the Nicolaitans, because you are thinking you deserve heaven, even though you have the heart of hell. This is the problem with hypocrisy, is it's where is your heart? So like when we go through life and we think, oh gee, am I a hypocrite? That's what you've got to look at. Because imagine a scenario where, all right, you come to church and you learn how to be a good person. You take on the teachings and go, yep, I need to work on this. I need to think kind of others. And you walk out and there's a disagreement, right? Somebody tells you their opinion of how the world should be run, and you go, oh, you're thinking to yourself, I don't agree with this. I don't like this person. They're saying things that I don't believe. I'm frustrated. But you don't say it. You don't tell them what you think of their opinion. And you start feeling to yourself, oh, am I a hypocrite? Because I'm not feeling a whole lot of love to this person, but I'm not saying what I think. Oh, am I a hypocrite? Well, no, that's not hypocrisy, because the reason, hopefully, that you're not saying these things that you feel towards a person is because you're being kind. You're going, okay, I don't really like this person, but you know what? Out of respect and honor, and I'm loving my neighbor, or who may be your enemy, you think, okay, I'm not going to say that because that's just not nice. That's not helpful for me to tell them how I see the world, because I see that they're not going to change how they think based on what I say. They're not asking for my opinion, they're just venting theirs. So the hypocrisy that you may be feeling isn't true hypocrisy, because you're not doing it out of a negative place. Another example might be, you and your spouse are arguing or disagreeing over something. And while you're not seeing eye to eye on things and you're not telling them what you really think of their stupid idea, you feel like, oh, gee, am I being hypocritical because I'm not telling them what I think of their stupid idea and I'm upset at them, but I'm not saying it. I'm holding my breath. I've walked away to give myself a minute or whatever. Is that hypocritical? No, because what's going on there? You're trying to make it a place in your house and in your life where the marriage can be healed. If you say every bad thing you think about your spouse at every given moment, that's not going to be a very fertile ground for love to grow back again. When the argument is done, there will be lots of memories of unkind words and things said that will be, shall we say, held against you in some form or another. So it's not hypocritical to sometimes be quiet. It's not hypocritical to do that. And it's important that we realize that God does give us this dual mind, this ability to be quiet. And that said, that's what I want to read for you. Apocalypse Revealed, number 294. We'll kind of wrap it up on this, because this shows you that sometimes being quiet is the right thing. In the natural world, the speech of man is twofold, because his thought is twofold, exterior and interior. For a man can speak from interior thought and at the same time from exterior thought. And he can speak from exterior thought and not from interior, yea, contrary to interior thought. Whence come dissimulations, flatteries, and hypocrisy. But in the spiritual world, a person's speech is not twofold, but single. He there speaks as he thinks, otherwise the sound is harsh and offends the ear. But yet he may be silent, so not publish the thoughts of his mind. Therefore a hypocrite, when he comes among the wise, either goes away or retires to the corner of a room and withdraws himself from observation and sits silent. So, if you want to be able to speak in the next world, you need to have your thoughts and your mind all together. In this world, though, that's probably a pretty good strategy at times, to come back, be silent, stay away from the situation, get yourself out of there. You don't want to end up like that for eternity, though. And you certainly don't want to end up with the eyes of the leopard, the gait of the wolf, and the face of a fox, and the teeth of a crocodile. That is not the picture of you we want to have for eternity. So it's important to make sure you understand what's a hypocrite and not. Hypocrisy is a double standard where you have yourself as the favorite, and you have this evil heart towards whoever it is you're dealing with. It's not hypocrisy to think one thing and say another about somebody else when you're trying to help them, when you're trying to smooth out the rough edges of your criticism, to be kind, and the heart for your dual nature is about trying to be nice and kind and generous, excusing one another even if you don't fully like it. So there is a difference, and I just hope you don't go through life confusing the two and thinking that you're a hypocrite and going to end up with this ugly creature as yourself for eternity. Amen.